Call my bluff again, where the fanciest fibs come from Frank Muir.
Both my guests are new to the programme, which is always good fun. My first writes a column, and she writes a column in the Observer Sunday colour supplement, and it's the one I turn to first, along with about 500,000 others, in which she has a nice little picture of herself peering over her half glasses. I hope you're going to put them on later.
Yes, I am.
Oh, good. It's Sue Arnold.
Hello.
And my next is an actor whose face you know extremely well. He's temporarily retired from the civil service and is going in for the helmet and spear game at the Royal Shakespeare Company, Nigel Hawthorne.
And in the peak of condition, Arthur Marshall.
Good evening. Delighted to welcome back to Call My Bluff, who she was on the other team last time, but now she's with me, the beautiful and talented Liza Goddard. And on my right, somebody who spends his life introducing people, but who himself needs no introduction, Russell Harty.
The old bell still works, and it produces the first word. Cocky G is the way I pronounce it, but we'll learn about that later on. Frank and his team will define Cocky G 3 different ways. 2 of them no good, 1's all right, and that's what the other people, Arthur's team, go after. So off you pop, Frank. Cocky G.
A Cocky G is the Australian gold miner's equivalent of a Cornish pixie. Would that be enough? Or,
No, press on.
One more.
You're in Ballarat, you see. You're in Ballarat digging for gold. And you find, you did find a little curious spiral-shaped fossilized sea snail. And that was called a Cocky G. And for some reason that I can't substantiate at this moment, the Australian miners thought, wisely or unwisely, that where they found these, they would also find gold.
So now let's try Nigel Hawthorne.
This Cocky G is the name of a regional game played with sheep's knuckle bones, rather cube-shaped bones in the ankle joints of the sheep, has been used for centuries as a form of dice. And in fact, in Roman times, which probably a little before most of us were born, it was called there locally Ludus Taylorum.
Right. And now Sue Arnold. Her turn.
A Cocky G is actually a form of it's a variety of Irish apple, grown both sides of the border. It's a rather horrid colour. It's pallid and sickly looking and green, but in fact it's delicious. And it's an interesting and well-known historical fact that before 1835, when a certain stout became available in Ireland, allegedly good for you, cider made from Cocky G apples was available in most pubs, adjacent bars in Ireland.
They say then that it's a kind of a game played with sheep's bones, sort of mumblety-peg, that kind of thing. It's a promising fossil, promising if you're looking for gold, because if it's there you may get the gold, and it's an Irish apple. So, Arthur, have your pick?
Hang on.
Certainly. I'll rein myself in.
Well, now, there's 3 tremendously interesting definitions.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Beautifully delivered, all of them quite fascinating. And 2 are total rubbish, and we have to pick them out. Now then.
You're playing for time.
Frank, I didn't. You did it so well, but your Australian pixie, helpful with gold, I couldn't quite see that.
It was a bit unconvincing, wasn't it? I must
Well,
admit.
it was at the time.
Could I do
yes.
another one?
No, sir. And this knucklebone game, it seemed awfully vague as to where it was all going on, somehow. Coming from Devon myself, of course, I'm passionately fond both of apples and of cider and everything to do with them. And I dare say that the Irish cockagees are perfectly delicious. Not golden delicious, but Irish delicious. And so I'm going to go for Sue's Irish apple.
That's what she said. True or bluff? Perfectly true. It is indeed an apple,
Just
an
a
Irish
fluke,
apple, said to be
fluke.
perfectly delicious. Murrett's the next word, and Arthur, off you go.
Well, now, this is of great interest to those of you who like wholemeal bread.
No, it's got bits in it. No.
Well, I'm coming to this. Because murret is a sort of microscopic fungus that grows upon millstones.
Oh, I'm even less fond of
Unless
it.
the millstones are constantly scrubbed clean. Now, you may be anxious about murret and wonder if your bread has got murret in it. Don't be worried, because the murret itself is not poisonous, but the miller is not the only person alive in the mill. There are also little things that creep upon the ground, cockroaches. And murret is the absolutely tip-top food of cockroaches. And so the millstones have to be rubbed clean, otherwise you get cockroaches ground into the flour.
Those are the lumps.
I was coming to it. No, not to everybody's taste, a dead cockroach in your wholemeal bread.
In the old days, Arthur, that would have got an H certificate, that definition.
Can we move on?
Certainly, with all dispatch to Russell Harty.
Mine is much simpler. A murret is a highly and richly ornamented pleasure craft that plies up and down the Ganges once or twice, to ply up and down the Ganges, and is propelled by gentlemen who speak in Urdu and shout at boats that go past. And if you saw or feel that you've seen the film of Gandhi, you may have caught sight of a murret going up and down, and a man shouts, "What time does the last murret go to Benares?"
If you feel it, yes, I like that, Russell. Very good. Liza Goddard now.
Well, murret is actually a reddish, tawny brown colour, the sort of colour of an old 10-shilling note. And it's most particularly the colour of a breed of sheep native to the Shetland Islands. And a sheep whose murret-coloured wool, undyed, is the dominant hue of many a hand-knitted Shetland sweater.
Well, it would be, yes. It would be if the sheep were coloured brown. That's what it is, brown in colour. Sort of fungus on a mill wheel, scrub it hard, and a pleasure craft up and down the Ganges elsewhere. Frank, you to choose.
I'm tremendously alarmed about this fungus feeding these giant cockroaches. So many people go to health food shops and eat this muck, which looks like sweepings from a stable for breakfast. And to think that there's even a danger of getting a cockroach leg.
I wouldn't have upset the public for the word.
Well, no, I don't hold with that sort of goings-on in the millers. Pleasurecraft it can't be. Shetland sheep is very encouraging, so I'll choose pleasurecraft.
Dismissive and rather offensive by dismissing so lightly.
It was loving, really, wasn't it?
It was Russell who said that. Now, own up, Russell. You have it there somewhere. Nothing to do with pleasurecraft. Something else. Who gave the true definition of good old murret? It was the sheep.
My team thought it was the sheep, but I knew worse.
Yes.
He would have his way.
It's actually the colour rather than the sheep, but I dare say the one is transferred to the other. Dwam is the way I'd say it, my simple way. Nigel.
Yes, dwam is a part of the wheel of a gun carriage, the sort of thing that you might see at the Royal Tournament in Earl's Court. It's the removable metal bolt which fastens the hub of the wheel to the axle and therefore enables the wheel to be easily removed.
Splendidly deft and practical, yes? Now, Sue.
Dwam is an adjective they use in Wiltshire quite often. It actually means, well, if you used it about food, it would mean stodgy, lumpen, indigestible, like suet pudding. And if you use it of people, it means stupid, thick, beef-witted, I think. And Cobbett, noting in his Rural Rides, said that the average citizen of Marlborough was said to be as dwam as a wooden dumpling.
Good. Well, let's hear now what Frank says.
Don't go to Marlborough. Dwam is in fact pronounced dwam, not dwam. Dwam it is. And it's a Scottish loss of consciousness. It's a north of the border faint. It's oh. You will recall the lines from.
Not Walter
Let me
Scott.
guess.
Robert Nichol.
You put the heart across me.
A
sorry.
less well-known bard
Yes.
than a rabbi, but nevertheless a bard. And Robert Nichol wrote, and I quote,